Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Playfield Spurs. My name's Paul, and I've got Ryan here with me as well as Corey. How are we all this evening, guys? Are we all good?
Yeah, keep scrolling through the never-ending transfer list of players that we're not linked to at the moment. Very empty screen on my phone right now. Like I'm scrolling. I know it's just locked itself now, but I'm like Tottenham rumours. None.
What about you, Ryan? How are you?
Just a long week, man. I'm absolutely shattered. Should have put this off
Yeah.
until tomorrow, to be honest. It would have probably been better because I'm absolutely knacked after the week I've had.
After the week you've had. We've all
Yeah,
had a
no,
tough week, mate.
No,
Sounds a
trust
bit
me.
like Spurs.
No, do you know what? It's been worse than Spurs. I've been busy left, right, and centre, man. This week, it's just I just can't deal with it. I've had enough of listening to the silence, but there's nothing happening. So I might perk up in a bit and start having a rant and a rave because that's how I'm that peed off with it all at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one, mate. Anyway, as we always do on this channel, we start off with a Who Said This quote. So I've got a nice new one here for you. So who said this? Before Gascoigne, did anyone ever become a national hero and a dead cert millionaire by crying? Fabulous. Weep and the world weeps with you. Any ideas?
Definitely not a Hoddle quote.
This one's tricky, I've got to say.
Yeah, bro. Good to see some support. I'm just knackered, mate.
I'm trying to think this out because I'm trying to think who's really that outspoken to, try and figure out who it is because we've had some characters before in the past. It's just one of them things.
Yeah. So anyway, what we'll do, we'll start off then, and I'll kick this one off because it's driving me crazy. Where are our signings? Apparently, according to Levy and Vinay, we want a challenge for the Champions League and the Premier League. So what do? We go and sign Matthias Tell. Then we sign a defender who's now injured. And then we get all excited because he gets kudos. And then nothing. So what is going on at our club? What has changed? Because at the minute, all I can see is doing is exactly what we did last season. We're going to buy a bunch of kids that aren't ready and one signing, which to me is just utter disgraceful for a club like Tottenham, especially when all our rivals are strengthening in every single area. You know, it's like even Man United. You know, they're on the verge of signing Sesko. They've got Mbrombo and Cunha. Like, you know, their front line sorted, and they're not even in Europe next season.
Man City have strengthened, Arsenal have strengthened, Liverpool, Chelsea, hell, even Sunderland are strengthening better than us. They've just come up. You can't make this shit up, really. I mean, I wonder if Levy was talking about the whole I want a challenge for the Champions League and the league if he was playing like FIFA Manager or Championship Manager or any kind of management game where he can live out his fantasies where he doesn't have to buy anyone or he can just keep on doing auto save.
No, do you know what, right? I think it's got to the point that the only big signing we're going to get in is kudos. I can see it happening now. I'm sick and tired of hearing that we're being linked with this person, that person, and every other person. Kudos, very good signing, but now.
Wait. Justin.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
breaking news.
Tottenham are linked to Chinese super sensation Fukin no one. Fukin no one. He sounds like a great player, doesn't he? It's just like that N nobody that we signed a few years ago when we just built the stadium. Fukin no one. It's a joke at this club. Couldn't even get
Do you know?
over the line.
I have to agree with that. Right, if we could have an absolute gem on our hands if Kudos plays the way he does, but
There's no strength in this squad
Yeah, but
whatsoever.
there's no strength in numbers. All it takes is a hamstring injury. You know,
Wait.
look at Solanke.
We haven't got Ange in charge anymore, so the hamstrings may be all right this season.
Yeah, but it seems like but have you seen the tackles flying in those training videos? Jed Spence taking out Porro. Did you see that?
Let them learn. That's how you're supposed to learn as a footballer in training. Jesus, I can remember getting a few knocks and coming home with one missing nut when I was a kid. I felt like it, you know.
Misty's come to say hi.
hello, miss. How you, love? But no,
the new sponsor.
New sponsor. Yeah, for me though, it's kind of like, you know, I like the signing of Kudos, and when it looked like we were going to get Morgan Gibbs-White, now he's being held hostage. You know,
say the lines, Morgan, or the dog gets it. Say the lines, Morgan, or the dog gets it. There's a dog
Do you know what?
Say it, Morgan. Say it.
The one thing I would love to see, a player come in, would be someone like, I don't know, just like Harvey Elliott. He would literally make me. Well, is it part? Yes, past the watershed. He would literally make me come in my pants. Literally.
Jizz in my pants.
Literally, that's how I feel, because like he's got 6 years experience in the Premier League. Yes, he's still only young.
6?
Yeah, but I forgot Daniel Levy doesn't sign them players that have only had 6 years of experience at this club, does he?
No. You forgot. Didn't meet the MO there. It's not under the age of 20. The modus operandum at this club, and yes, Latin, love it. Our MO is literally one good, maybe okay, mediocre signing. You know, like your Johnsons, your Richarlisons, your Don one good season Solankes. Big money for shit, and then you go and sign like 3-4 teenagers. We might as well have just built a sixth form college over our old stadium. Might as well have just gone, right, new college in N17, nice big stadium, is just really a front for sixth form college with a football pitch in the middle.
Do you know what's also funny though? If we bring any more inexperienced kids in, right, it'll be Jimmy Savile FC. Literally.
Ryan, let's not go there.
No, but do you know what I mean? That's what it would be like. Exactly that. It'd be Jimmy Savile FC. Because it's stupid. We need to be bringing in men, not kids.
Many men.
Yeah, well, we know this, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like it's becoming to the point where
the men
who
are
do we actually
refusing us.
blame? Who are we blaming for our lack of signings? Is it Levy? Is it Vinay? Is it Lange? Is it Frank going? He wants to assess the squad before he buys any more players. You know, who is it? Who is to blame for our lack of signings?
The fans have like a dossier on some of these players. We could just go to Frank, right? He's shit.
Yeah, but not according to our club, apparently.
Yeah,
that's what I've had arguments with people over the last few weeks about what players should be sold and who shouldn't. I said in a chat with some other friends about how I think Sarr is a bang average player, and he's like, "Oh, he's young. He's this. Dude, he's not young anymore. He's in his early 20s. He's what, 23 now, Sarr? 24?
Yeah.
If you haven't been able to get a first team spot properly with the so-called engine this guy has, it's not good enough. He's an athlete, but is he a good footballer? Every now and then he might turn up with a little bit of magic, all while the night in Bilbao where he broke up the play, passed it off and we scored a goal. Okay, great. So where's this every match?
Do you know what?
Is it our problem though with most of our players?
I've only got one thing to say to you, right? And it's really got to the point where it can't just start and end in Bilbao. It really can't. Because if that's the case, all we're going to be hearing for the next 17 years, yeah, right, is literally people going on and on and on and on, right? But then also, if we're not just hearing that, right, it's going to be we ended 17th and we won it in Bilbao. It's literally how it's going to go. If we have to wait another 17 years.
But it's one of them, isn't it? It's I can't see that
I'm reading
happening.
it.
But
We sold our soul. We sold
Well,
everything that guy carried on his back for what, 10 years at our club? But then I still feel like we're still trying to replace Kyle Walker. We're still trying to replace Danny Rose. We're still trying to
no, we're
replace
trying
the
to replace this
Tongan.
guy here. Even
Gareth
now,
Bale, Ginola,
we are still trying to replace this guy.
Klinsmann.
yeah.
Look,
Honestly, it's But when has Spurs ever done that?
We haven't.
We haven't got a good track record of this at all. And the way our youth is supposed to be coming through, and they're all supposed to be these so-called generational talents.
yeah.
But none of them can push into the first team.
I'm sorry.
Because we got players.
You're a generational talent if your name is Lamel. That is a generational talent.
Yes.
Let's not start that off because I could talk about Lamau and how generational he is. But the thing is, yeah, right. This comment here, yeah, it's true. We have literally signed so lanky, right? And to be fair, he isn't the best. And I don't want him in this club. I want him gone. I never even wanted him at the club in the first place. I would have taken Tony. That's the thing.
And this is what infuriates me with so lanky as well. He's about the same height as me. I'm 6'6". He's what, 6'2"? The guy was getting when I went to go and watch the Southampton match last year. You know that one game that we won in 10 towards the end of the season. Yeah. Do you remember that, fans? Do you remember that? The whole fact that he was getting pushed off the ball by defenders that were relegated already. I've had arguments with people saying, "What is it? We finished 13 points clear of the drop zone. We shouldn't be 13 points off the fucking drop zone. We shouldn't be nowhere near that." But if you couldn't figure it out for yourself that it was the previous manager and his tactics were the problem, then
I'm glad that Andrew's gone. Though. I am like I've said to Paul on so many occasions. Now that Andrew's gone, I'm glad because
I'm as happy as a pig in shit because for 2 years from day one I was Andrew. And I have been called some mega fucking nasty names, and I just sit and shrug it off and laugh at people. So, I did my homework, I did my research on the guy, and I just didn't like what he was going to bring to the point. We was talking to Julian Nagelsmann. We was talking to Julian Nagelsmann, but because we wouldn't bring his coaching staff with us, we said no to him. 2 years of utter dross and shite from a so-called legend, and I use the word loosely, legend. Anyone calling Andrew Postecoglou a legend needs to go and look up the definition of the word legend and really do some research on the word and get back to me what legend really means.
Do you know what? It's funny because when you look in the dictionary and you see legend, you see the likes of Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Alex Ferguson, Pep Guardiola. Do we need to keep going? Klopp. And Ancelotti. How many more managers do you need to list off the top there? And now you want to try and put this guy that has won it in easy leagues in the bracket of legend. Oh, wow. I reckon I could get my coaching badges, trot up to Scotland to go and manage Celtic myself and still win that league. Anyone could do it. It's not the hardest league. It's not the hardest league in the world to go and do when you're smashing Dunfermline and Hibs and teams like that week in, week out. When you're Celtic,
don't forget Rangers. When Celtic are smashing Rangers week in, week out as well.
Yeah, but let's look at how, Celtic and the league in itself. The league in itself is ranked what, 43rd or 44th on the coefficient and league rankings. And you want to sit there and tell me that the Scottish League is entertaining to watch? Jesus Christ.
Well,
Say if the same thing happens
right.
under Frank that happened with past, you need to start looking at your brand. I'm not the manager. Well, I've been Levy out, Enoch out since Martin Yole was sacked. 18
Yeah.
years now. 18 years. 18 years. I'm not really fucking buying anything Tottenham. I haven't seen my team play, since last season in nearly 12 years. No, not 12 years. So I was at the last game at the Lane with my granddad because he was a season ticket holder, my uncle.
Mm.
That was the last game I saw at the old lady, you know. So, I'll always call that home, not this fucking shell that we call a stadium now.
Oh God.
And
God,
I can tell you
please.
now, when I went to that Southampton game, my God, it was so fucking quiet. So quiet in that stadium. You could literally hear a mouse, a mouse say something or someone fart 3 rows in front of you. It was that quiet. You go to the Lane, it was noisy, it was boisterous. Everyone had a song. There was always noise there. The new stadium is soulless. It's filled with, I'm going to call it tourist fans now, because us fans, we're now legacy fans, fans that have been there, put money into the club over the years, been to see them up and down the country. I know some people have travelled abroad. I mean, I haven't been fortunate enough to travel abroad to watch my team play because I just can't afford to travel abroad to see my team play. But I've supported my club through thick and thin. I've seen my team nearly relegated twice in my life and nearly a club not to support back in the 90s. So it's just this board alone. I mean, red flag should have been noticed when these guys came in 2000 and said, we're here to make money.
But do you know what really annoyed me? Right? What's really annoyed me? I'm not going to be blaming Frank if the whole, like I've said this throughout the whole time that when Frank has turned up, I will not be blaming Frank one little bit for any of this because he's not had the backing from Levy. And from what I've heard today, right, we will be getting Saudi. We will be getting Saudi. What you call it? Investment, and then apparently, what else I've heard is that we might be getting a full takeover by the Saudis. Look, I don't know how true that is, but what I do know is right is if this does happen, it's going to be blood money. But
wait.
Well, you can't say that, Ryan. You don't know.
For teams nowadays to get anywhere, all these people, all these billionaires are corrupt and done things wrong somewhere along the line, Ryan. No one is
That's why they're billionaires.
Clean. No one is squeaky clean at a billionaire. Jeff Bezos wasn't exactly, the cleanest. You got to look at people like a certain person that owns Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates. The story of him and how he got his money by fucking his 2 friends over. Let's not start on that one. These billionaires are not clean. As simple as. Doesn't matter if you're country run like Newcastle. Even Newcastle struggling to bring players in, and they've got all that money. So
that's because they don't have the revenue we do. I think if we had that sort of money come into the club with our revenue that we would generate from that, it would be crazy. We would have the wiggle room. A Saudi club could come in here and probably spend $1 billion and in a transfer window quite easily and not even think about it with PSR because we'd earn enough to cover it.
For 3 years as well, though, Paul.
Huh?
Well, you got to look at any investor that coming in. They've
had that 3-year leeway as well.
Well, yeah, of course.
Any investors coming in also have to take on the stadium debt as well. So a big buyout would hopefully. Cat just fell on the floor. Any big buyout, these buyers and investors have to think along the terms of, right, how much is left on this stadium to pay? Should we just pay it all out at once, or do we continue on the payment plan that Levy and everyone has put in place beforehand?
I personally think if an investor comes in like Saudi or anywhere like that, that stadium debt will be cleared.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they'll want that hanging over them. They'll clear the stadium debt out of their own money.
Yeah, but then
they'll want to own it.
What's going to happen with Daniel Levy's top of the range 5-star hotels?
They'll still come in. That's where the investment is. That's what will make him the money at the end of the day. An investment is going to see it as in, so that's potential where we can expand, but then they'll also spend money on the football field because the more successful a club is, you imagine the size of our stadium playing Champions League football, having some really good world-class players in the squad. Think what that would do to generate in shirt sales, in media rights, in player rights, in contracts. The list is endless to what it would actually generate, which is why I can never understand why we never put in that extra 10 million sometimes just to go, do you know what? Just get it over the line. Do you know what I mean? For the sake of what it is.
Talking along
we
with
don't.
like merchandise sales and everything, apart from
Yeah.
Son, if Son does leave, where's the excess 25-30 million a year in just Son t-shirt merchandise alone going to come from? They need to go out and find that next big star from an Asia or somewhere in the remote Neverland or Neverworld out that way. Son is a freak of nature. He is a commercial brand in himself, and Levy has beat that poor bloke over the head too much over God knows how many years. And I feel like if he leaves, he won't have that pressure of Levy being on top of him to stay. He'll be able to find himself again, and with the graces, I'd let Sonny leave. He's given his all, but like he is literally being held at like Gibbs White as a commercial sort of thing. You're here because you sell shirts. Now, if you take Son out of that equation, who's on that next list in that 26-man squad that you think is anywhere close now? Because Kane went 2 years ago. Kane and Sonny, between them two, I think it was over the 10 years they played together, every season was about 45-50 million across the world on just their shirt sales alone. Kane and Son.
But then this is a good question though, right? And I want to ask Darren this first, to be honest. What would you class as a good season for Tottenham?
Depends on this bloody transfer window really right now. I'm looking at our team and we're still haunted by ghosts past managers, We're still holding on to the likes of what Ben Davis was, Pochettino, wasn't he?
Yep.
I think him and Son are the only two remnants left of the Pochettino era. We're still holding on to players from Jose Conte. We're still holding on to a few of those players in that team. And unless we find some actual quality to go in the midfield, creatively, defensively in midfield as well as finding a better striker than Don one good season.
So what would you class as a good season then?
I think it's going to be a struggle, mate. If we finish within the top 6 or 7, I'll be happy. Getting into Europe through the back door, you know what? I would have been happy if we didn't fucking win it, to be honest with you.
Paul?
I love the fact that we've won it, but since we've won it, this club's now become a poison chalice again. It used to be the poison chalice of managers, now it's a poison chalice of players.
Yeah.
So like the players don't want to come because of X, Y, and Z. We can list God knows how many reasons why players aren't going to join. It could be down to the management, which Frank is a fantastic manager. He's proven his worth and he's weight in gold in the Premier League with the second lowest budget on any team in wages for close to 4 years, keeping Brentford up when they should have gone straight back down, but they didn't. They found an unworth some of these gems that are now leaving them. And what I find weird with this is if Frank already had a long list of players that he was scouting for Brentford, where did that little scouting book come with him when he left to go and look at some of these other players again?
Yeah, but with that, for me, it's like when people, and I'm going to use these two players who are currently in our squad, Archie Gray and Brennan Johnson, right? They were being brought in not to be first team players, but they would have had 2 or 3 seasons behind to bed into the team. His scouting book would have been, because remember, Brentford couldn't go out and buy a 40-50 million pound player. They would have to go, right, we're going to go and buy him for 5-10 million and embed him into the squad. So they had a succession plan in place, which I think was what the plan was for Archie Gray and Brennan Johnson. In other words, Johnson would have probably played behind either probably Mbromo or someone like that. He probably would have played behind them, learning his trade, getting used to it. One game a week, the odd game in the cups, gets bedded right into the team. Whereas we don't do that. We just go, 40 million, dump him in defence, and we bought him for midfield. And Johnson hasn't improved since we bought him.
Yeah.
But then
so when you say use Frank's scouting book, his scouting would have been for basically up and coming players that he thought he could develop because he had the time at Brentford. Whereas here, he's not going to get that time. He needs to buy players ready now to go into that squad. He can't be looking, and his scouting network probably wasn't geared to that.
But so, Paul, where would you see us
Brennan
finishing
Johnson's not one for the future. I'm sorry, your worst nightmare. I can't get on board with that. The guy can't take on the player. The guy doesn't get down on the line quick enough to take a player out, to get past him. He doesn't get the ball into the corner if we're 2-1 up to waste time. He doesn't track back. He doesn't put in a tackle. And when we were playing the whole bomb forward inverted wing backs, and you need your right winger to be able to cover your right-sided defender to come back and to drop into that space as the defender goes past him. Johnson is a tapping merch, a stat padder that can only score past poor teams. He goes missing against the big teams, and he's a passenger for 90 minutes of a game unless he taps a ball in from 6 yards.
Yeah.
And let's get to the Europa League final, which I still say is a Luke Shaw own goal.
Yeah.
But then, all right. So, Paul, what would you class as a good season then for us?
For me, it is the same minimum expectations I have for every season. I want a good cup run.
I know it's you, Joe. I can kind of guess by the way you talk.
I want a good cup run. And from that, I also want us to finish at least in the European place in the league. I don't want to be in a position where we go another season without Europe. And I don't care if it's the Conference League right now, because that would hopefully bring in another piece of silverware. And the more these players keep winning those sort of games, the more confidence it breeds, the more times we're seeing winning stuff, then great. For me, we need to finish a minimum of the Conference League, but I want Europa. And a decent cup run or two.
Something that's really irked me from last season to now. So we went out and signed Kinksky. Very good young goalkeeper. Keeley, top good young professional. Doesn't want to waste his career sitting on the bench at Tottenham. I can understand why he's left. We're now thinking about sending Kinksky out on loan to France. You're like, what? Then we got Brandon Austin and young Luke Gunter, who's a very good young goalkeeper as well. But Gunter's only going to be kept around for the homegrown, home-trained talent, so that we can meet the quota for the league and for European Cup. But he's not going to get a chance to play.
Yeah, but then do you think that Spurs, there again then, do you think Spurs have learned a lesson from Keeley? Going to want that regular first team spot. So they're sending Kinksky out on loan because they've got Gunter coming through that's going to learn from Vicario and hopefully push himself above Brandon Austin. And then when Vicario does go, Gunter can come in as a really young goalkeeper in the league and push on.
Yeah, that's
actually develop the player we've got instead of looking at it just as a homegrown element. Let's make that homegrown element permanent. Let's not just do what we did to Keeley and keep him on the bench. Or Austin, again, we kept on the bench.
I really felt for Keeley because last season he had 17 or 18 clean sheets. Of those 18, he had 9 or 10 in a row. And then I've had arguments with other people. Well, he's gone to League One. But as a goalkeeper, there's one position. So, like in defence, we could potentially play left back, right back, centre back, midfield. Goalkeeper's one position. Where are you going to get your minutes from if you're not going to be playing? You go out on loan as a young kid. I mean, I as a kid nearly signed for a club that I would have had to leave my family behind back here in Brighton and move away from. And then what they did back in those days is they would put you in a boarding school. You pretty much stay close to the stadium and the training ground. you do your day school, then you do training and blah blah blah. But I stayed at Brighton as a kid. But like, as a goalkeeper, you need those minutes. You need to progress. You need to get out there, don't you? So Keeley has done the right thing for his career. He doesn't want to stagnate. He doesn't want to be another Whiteman or another Brandon Austin that's been waiting around 10, 15 years to get their position in the team, you know?
Yeah, I get that, but
moving
like,
moving on
think-
moving on for
But
that
that's what
goal.
I think with Kinski going. That's where I think with Kinski going, may possibly going out on loan. Maybe they're looking at it and going, "Well, we've got Gunter that's really up and coming through. You know, why not get him
Gunter,
into the cup games?"
Where did he go on loan? Was it League One as well, Gunter, wasn't it, last
Yeah,
season?
I think so. Yeah,
He had a really impressive season as well, and the kid's 19 going on 20.
that's what I mean. So maybe he is Vicario's replacement, but they need to get him trained up and integrated into the squad, which is probably why Kinski will be going on loan.
I mean, also with the new coaches that came in this season, we also got a really good goalkeeper coach come down to join
Yeah,
Frank's team. So again, we've probably got a better coaching team in place now than what we had for the last 2 years under fraud.
Is it Matt Wells that's come down?
Matt Wells, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
he was at United, wasn't he?
He was at United or Liverpool, one of them. But because he's
if he was at United, he couldn't do anything with Onana.
That guy's a lost cause. That guy's a lost cause. But then you got to feel sorry for the guy because before he's banned for doing a little bit of something he shouldn't for a year, when he was in Holland, he was one of the next big young prospects to come out, wasn't he? He was going to be the next big thing with goalkeeping. Then he went.
But do you remember in 2000?
He went to Italy, didn't he? So he went. Was it
Yeah.
AC Milan? Was it AC?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was AC.
think
And
so.
then he performed pretty well there at AC, and that's what earned him his move to United. But what's let Onana down and as a goalkeeper here, it's your defence. If your defence is fucking leaky, mate, you as a goalkeeper, you can only pray sometimes that you're keeping that ball out the net.
Yeah, but you know, going back to when he was at Ajax, he was their goalkeeper in the Champions League semi-final
against us.
Believe it or not.
To show how Ajax can get young players through, but like it's their operational, it's their MO out there in Holland, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're a young player and wanting to do something, you go to Ajax.
Yeah, or you go to one of the Dutch clubs. Look at Mickey van der Ven. He's come through that way. Toby Anderwell come through the Dutch league as well, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But the problem is, like, where do I think we'll finish this year? I've said this on Savas. I've said this on everyone's that I've been on Dave's. I've said it on everyone that I've spoken to, right? And it's going to have to be a top 10 finish. I'm sticking with what I've said all the way through this. A top 10.
Well, you can't do any worse than 17th. Anything under 17th, you're relegated. So
yeah,
well, I mean,
to be honest though, I when you look at our squad, our team isn't as bad as 17th in the league. It really isn't, right? You know, we don't have what I would call completely rubbish players. We have good and average players that are not a 17th league, and they're not a 17th position in the league. I just don't think our current squad is that position. You know, so if another couple of good signings coming in, which I hope we do, then, you know, it's kind of that changes the whole dynamic. And then we should be back in the European places. That's where we need to be. We can't afford to be 7th. We can't afford to be 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. We don't want to be that mid-table team again. And I get the fact that Frank's coming in and building, and it's his first season of Europe and stuff, but the expectations have got to be there. They were for Ange for me. He had to be finishing places in Europe for me, in the league. But
you know what's going to get me? You know what's going to get me this season? So the very first season under Ange, we didn't have European football, so he finished 5th.
Yeah.
Then he had this season to fall back on the Europa League. Now, Frank has the unfortunate thing here of having to play in 4 very tough competitions with a very limited squad that we have, and very, I'd say some of these players lack of talent as well. I've got to sit here and honestly think if we make it through to the next round in the Champions League after the group stages, or sorry, the league stage, it's not group stages anymore.
I think we will get out of the league.
I'll be happy with that, but I just see Europe as a big distraction now. We've got to either focus on Europe or trying to get the FA Cup or League Cup in to try and at least alleviate some of this cup drought. Because if we've won something last season, some of this fan base were like, oh, but Anthony's first season finished 5th. Yeah, but you don't have Europe.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people are forgetting.
The season the guy had Europe, he finished 17th, losing 22 in the league, 26 in all comps. So it's like,
yeah. Plus, what a lot of people don't bring up is Ange also got 4 first-team players when he walked through the door.
Oh yeah,
he got 4 players that walked into that first team. So in that first summer transfer window, he got 4 players. Whereas now it's kind
Vicario, Van der Ven.
Yeah.
Vicario, Van der Ven, Johnson, and I can't remember who his now.
Johnson. Johnson.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
A first team player. He doesn't walk into that team.
Werner.
He doesn't walk in. He walks into.
Well, he did walk.
But he doesn't walk into our team. How many times do I have to say
he does walk into the first team. He just walks around the pitch a lot, waiting for it to tap in.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's that Ange saw him as a first team player. Ange saw him as a first team player, not me. I'm just saying he had 4 first team players to come in and strengthen that squad, and he didn't have Europe. Whereas now we've got Champions League, and then what are we doing? We've signed Kudos. I'm not classing Tell.
No, full stop. It doesn't matter. We don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, but Ryan, of course he does. You're missing the point of what I'm saying. Yes, of course he walks into the team, but then where are the other players to supplement him? He ain't going to do it on his own. We need someone that's going to feed Kudos. We need someone that's going to be strong in that centre of midfield. We need a creative player. We need a striker that can actually find the back of the net. There's so much work we need to compete in the Champions League. There's so much work we need to do. And you know what? I'm hoping, as much as I don't like them down the road, I hope, I hate saying it, but I think they're going to spank us tomorrow. And when they do, hopefully that wakes the bloody board up lively and goes, oh my God, we've got to do something. And hopefully they'll go out and start fucking buying players, because this is just a shit show at the minute.
Well, let's put it into perspective. In midfield, we need to replace, I'm going to say this, Bentancur and Basuma. We need to replace both of them.
Of course we do.
Basuma on his day, when he's playing right, is unplayable, but that's very few and far between. Bentancur, again, is one of those players that shows up, but when a big team comes to town, he goes wayward. You don't see him. We need another left winger, because if the reports are true that Sonny is on his way, and he's on his way out to the MLS, and Mikey Moore's off to Rangers, what does that leave us with? Tell. Who is already injured, an Oda shirt. Sorry, Odebert. I was going to try to say Oda shirt, but again, Odebert's injured. Tell's always injured. Again, it's just like, give me something I can believe in. Come on, go out and sign me a left winger, 2 centre midfielders. Get me a deep-lying playmaker as well as next to a creative 10. Get me a Polinia. Get me...
We've got that creative 10 though, Darren, man. We've got that creative 10 in Kudos. I think his best position is down.
The creative 10 is down to Madison. Kudos is out on the wing.
No,
Kudos will be replacing Johnson.
Huh?
I don't want him out on the wing. I want him right
where he's playing.
Well, his natural position as a winger, mate. Ask Joe.
He's right winger.
He's a West Ham fan. Joe, if you're still there, mate, can you please correct our friend Ryan here, where Kudos likes to play? Come on, I know you love sticking it to Brian. So do
he can play in a 10, but it's not his best position.
His best
I
position is
prefer
holding that touchline and getting past
And
the
and if you want Mr. Old Ollie Johnson again out the team, he's the man that's going to do it.
Well, I'd rather see anybody take Kudos. Kudos, fuck's sake. I'd rather see anybody take Johnson out of the team. But I just think that he plays better down the middle. But at the same time, right? I think we need to go out there and I agree with Darren on some things, right? Yeah, we need to get Son's going to leave, whichever way you look at it, right? He's leaving.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Oh, sorry, I won't use your government name. Nightmare.
Look,
Let's not use the government slave name. See, Joe dropped my government slave name of Darren, and
But there you go, Ryan. He's a winger by trade. And if you didn't see that in the game against Reading, where he flew down that wing and hugged the touchline and went past 3 players and cut the ball back, I don't know what you were. I don't know what you were watching.
What winger to do?
Exactly. We need another one on the left now. And then we need a striker up front.
Correction, Paul. We
To
need
me, we need another
on the left because Odebert and Tell are just fucking awful.
Yeah. Do you know what what I keep hearing about Tell? Oh, Frank's going to turn him into a magician.
The only reason why Bayern Munich got Tell, the only reason why Bayern Munich went out and got Tell when he was 16 from the French league was off the back of a few good videos because all the rest of the world were interested in him. It's the only reason why Bayern got him. Then Bayern went, oh shit, what do we do with this?
Oh, we know. We'll sell him to Spurs for 40 million quid when he's only worth like 10.
A tenner.
Do you know what? Right? with everything like being said and done with this part of it, yeah, right. I would just sell Johnson to anyone for Fredo. Definitely, I'd sell him to whoever wants him.
Ryan, a Fredo has more worth than Johnson. At least a Fredo actually gives you some enjoyment.
A bit like Haribo's.
Well,
So
I think I'll give you that one.
I think we've already covered this.
I was jokingly saying for ages the whole 2 weeks we spent trying to flirt with MGW. Why don't we give him Johnson back in part of the deal? You can have your Johnson back now. We'll take MGW, but MGW I've still got like
Corey. That's what shut down the communications when we even mentioned that idea.
What, sending Johnson back?
Sending Johnson back. They were like, no.
What, we got rid of him. Please, no.
No, we're not having him back. But but to me, I think
in the corner. No.
I think we've covered that next question I was going to put in because we left it quite well. But this one should be a good one. But
fine.
I know Ryan's not going to like it.
You can have him.
So with Mikey Moore potentially going on loan to Rangers, what are your thoughts?
Look, I'll start this off, right? I said the other day, right, that when I spoke to Jack about this, I said to him, look, I don't want him out on loan, but he's gonna be welcomed up with open arms here. He's gonna literally be 100% welcomed with open arms because I mean, just with the situation where it comes down to being in Glasgow, I mean, people who actually do know me well enough knows that I've been up here 3 years and I had to go through Glasgow, and they were all friendly as anything. I'm not one of these to just say something for the sake of it. But when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done, I think it's the best thing he could have done is to, if he was going to get loaned anywhere, be the loan up here, to be honest. But I'm not happy that he's going out on loan. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather he stayed and got the minutes that he'd need here. But at the end of it, if that's what needs to be done, then I'm going to be fighting a losing battle with Paul. So,
Yeah, but then in the same sense, isn't it good for him as a player to do it? And to develop, because at the end of the day, he's not going to get the minutes here. Now, if he can go into Glasgow, bearing in mind they do have Champions League football as well, so he could potentially get Champions League experience. He's also going to get experience.
Have Rangers got it?
They're in the qualifying rounds.
Oh, right, okay. I was just making sure because normally they're always knocking around in Europa League.
Yeah, but they've got the qualification. I think they've got the. I can't remember when it is, but I think they have got
coefficient through league position. Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
I think so.
But then if we're going on coefficient on league position, then the Scottish League is 43rd ranked league in world football. Like 43rd. That's sinking.
Well, champions.
At least
actually,
send Mikey Moore somewhere. Send him to Belgium, where the Belgium league is in the top 10. They're 8th, and send him to a higher quality of league or higher, stronger players. Sorry, kicking St Mirren around every weekend when you're Celtic or Rangers must be so much fun to watch.
But I've just looked it up. Rangers actually beat Panathinaikos. Well, they beat them 3-1 on aggregate in the second qualifying round in the Champions League.
All right.
I think
I think the cheeky loan deal was we'll take him on loan, but we want to give you this option to buy for 30 mil. And Tottenham are like, no, it's a straight loan. So they must see some value in Mikey, because Rangers trying to cheeky, we'll give you 30 mil at the end of the year bullshit.
Yeah, that ain't going to work. Not for Mikey Moore. He's basically going out on loan to gain experience. And to be fair, if he gets it, at Rangers, yes, they might win most weeks. But if he can cement himself into that team, I'd put Rangers similar to quality of, probably mid to lower Premier League team.
No.
Mid-table to lower.
Upper championship.
Well, top of championship, around that area. Top of championship, lower, like bottom of the Premier League, around that sort of area, which is where I think he neads to be.
Sorry, if you put Rangers or Celtic in the Premier League, they get relegated first season. I'm sorry. There's a reason why you're 43rd ranked in the coefficient for leagues.
Yeah.
But Paul, this is
again, isn't the coefficient leagues though? When you look at Scotland, they only ever have 1 or 2 places in Europe. They don't get a European place through the cups, do they? The Scottish Cups. They don't win. They don't get a European place through that.
I think the Scottish Cup gives you conference, if I remember. But then when it's Celtic always fucking winning it, whoever gets a chance, it's always Celtic. So.
Yeah, but what I mean is in the sense of when you've got that around, then they're coefficient points. It's not like the UK or the big leagues in Europe that have 8 to 10 teams probably scattered across Europe in any one season. They're going to gain far more coefficient points than a league in Scotland.
But the league in Scotland is also the way it's ranked is because of how poor the league is anyway. When you take away Celtic and Rangers, who have you got next? Hibs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get the point.
It's your next biggest threat in that league. Then you've got I've always counted the Scottish league as, what's it? You're getting married and bridesmaid and 10 runners up and one gets relegated. So, it's that bloke you throw out at the end of the night because he's too pissed to stand up with your mates on the stag do. You get rid of him because he's fucking dead weight. That's the way I look at the Scottish league. It's like dead weight of England.
Yeah, but also I think it'd be good for Mikey Moore because he's technical. His technical ability is brilliant.
But
and it's a slower league.
I would send him to more of a technical league then. If we're talking about technical leagues, Germany, but you don't want to send Nick abroad because he's only young. Belgium is 8th. Their league is 8th in the FIFA coefficient rankings in leagues.
Yeah.
Obviously, it goes Premier League, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, kind of in that, not in that order, but those are the top 6. Then you've got the MLS now is in the top 10. The MLS has finally broken into the top 10, which is ridiculous. But you've got Belgium, the 8th ranked team in all of that, and then however many leagues are across the world. I mean, this is how pitiful the Scottish League when the Bulgarian League is one place above it. It's just the Bulgarian League only plays through the summer.
Yeah, Paul, you might want to
Crazy.
check on Misty, mate, because I've just seen her climbing up on your thing behind you. Your
That's all right.
microwave
She always
station.
goes up there. She's on top of my
Oh, I was
microwave at the
making
minute.
sure because- yeah, no,
It's
I
when
was
she
just making
failed to
sure
jump
because
across a
I'm
minute ago and kind of face palmed into the wall. I was like, okay,
Yeah, I know, I saw that.
Hey, it's entertainment for you.
you're an indoor cat. Don't go outside.
A bit like
She's
my
indoor
poo
at the
then,
minute
innit?
until she gets spaded. She's indoor.
Well, then
She
that'll
ain't
be
going
never for
out.
you then, Paul.
So the only other little bit of news that we've got is this. Thoughts?
Good. He was our one of our better players for nearly 4 months. He actually showed a bit of fight, even though we were losing every fucking game. At least the guy showed up and actually put in a shift. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, and then what pissed me off with Ange? Well, once Ndogi's back, well, Spencer be on the bench kind of thing. Well, fuck off. The guy's playing
Yeah.
better than Ndogi, and you're going to say you're going to drop the kid that's single-handedly driving the ball up the pitch, scoring goals, and defending?
Yeah.
What more do you want from your wing-back apart from to give a kidney up on the fucking pitch?
Yeah.
But then,
this
this is coming from an Australian that's probably better at teaching cricket and tennis.
Yeah,
than
but
being
for me though, for me with Spence, when we got him, I thought it was a really, really smart signing. I liked that signing from day one, and I can never understood why he never got a chance with Conte. You know, I get the whole,
Apparently, it was the whole.
I get the whole club politics and stuff, but you know, I don't understand why he wasn't given a chance to shine. And yeah, and even though Ange did give him his chance to shine, which he did, and he clearly took his opportunity, which is why he's been rewarded with a new contract. But for me, he just wasn't played enough.
Yeah.
You know, surely you need that competition. And we've had it for years at Spurs where we've had that one player in that position and they've gone out injured and will bit part and push players in different positions until they're back. And then they automatically walk straight back into the first team. You know, like they're a world-class superstar. And they're not, you know, but we've always been like this, you know, and I've seen it for years. Like when Kane was out, you know, we play, you know, we put Sonny up front or we put somebody else in the middle or, you know, no one that could do what Kane does. And instead of getting someone that wasn't, I'm not saying Kane's level, but, you know, a Premier League striker that can actually put the fucking ball in the back of the net a few times a season. We don't do that. We don't build squads. And it's half my problem that I have with Spurs because one minute they're going, you know, they go all out and say, well, we've got to sell before we buy. But clearly, just look at last season. We had 11 first team players out effectively. And what did we have behind them? You know, and this is the problem with Spurs. We keep buying prospects. We're not buying somebody to come into that first team, which then drops whoever was in the first team as a squad rotational player. But then it's up to that squad player to go, well, hang on a minute. I want my place back. Right. So they have to get better. You know, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 or 3 players playing for the same position. We don't have that. You look at all the top clubs, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, you know, all these clubs, they could have 11 injuries and they still have a team that will finish in the top 4. You know, but we go, oh, you know, let's go and buy Paulinho, but it's going to block Archie Gray's progress. What? Excuse me? It makes no sense to me.
Again.
It's like when we were looking at Eze. Oh, who's he going to replace?
Son.
Well, yeah, but then but do you see what I mean? They were going, where's Eze going to play? Who's he going to displace in the team? Oh, well, you can't displace Son. Oh no, you can't do that.
Wait.
Why not?
He could displace Dom, Richie, Son, Johnson. He could displace any of those four.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. But then we've got fans that go like, but what
Got
about
no
like?
fans.
Yeah, but let's look at Paulinho, for example. If he comes to Spurs, right, he walks into the first team as a CDM, right? But then everyone's going to be like, well, where's Bentancur going to play? Well, he can actually go back to the position he plays in, which is a box-to-box 8, not a CDM.
He's a box-to-box as well.
Yeah, exactly. So what is the problem here? You know, and they're on about displacing players. Like we buy a new defender. Oh, no, you can't take Romero and Mickey van der Ven out of that defence.
Well, a defence where they're
injured half the season,
about 60% of the year all the time. But
yeah,
let's go back to last season when the medical staff said you can't play Mickey, you can't play Kuti in that game against Chelsea because it'll re-aggravate the injury or make it worse. Ange being the stuck-up, arrogant fuckwit from Australia, not understanding how a human body works, basic human biology, must I add. If a player needs to recover, you don't fucking play him. What does he do? What was it? Romero came off first injured in that match, just before half time, wasn't it? And then Van der Ven came off just at the start of the second half, if I remember correctly, injured. And what did that do for their season? Did get back to what? Late January?
Yeah.
Nearly 4 months without your so-called best defenders and having to play with fucking Davis and Gray at the back.
Right. This is where I get annoyed with Spurs. Right. Nottingham Forest have made contact with Juventus for Douglas Luiz on initial loan with buy clause. Discussions ongoing with more clubs keen on Luiz from Premier League. He's going to leave Juventus. So how is it Nottingham bloody Forest can make contact with Douglas Luiz, but Spurs are going, oh, is that what's happening? Like we're like a 2-year-old playing in a fucking teenager's playground. It's a joke. Honestly, it's just, you know, how the hell, you know,
sitting around with our thumbs up our asses while our so-called rivals all get stronger while we sit around with our thumbs up our arse and then after.
Oh no, we'll end up buying players, but we'll go out and we'll spend 60, 70 million in the last week of the fucking window, and it'll be an average player.
Yeah, because they'll see
that will take a season to settle in, and they'll overpay them. And then when it comes to getting rid of them, we can't get rid of them because they'll want to stay because it's nice and cushy at Tottenham.
Yeah, and they're on twice the amount.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, of course that is. That's the way. That's how it's been with us. We haven't been able to shift any of this regime's former players and former managers on because they're either on hefty contracts or they just don't want to move. Was it Basuma? I don't want to leave. Sorry, pal. If you've been told that you're not part of the club, you can't find another fucking club. I mean, I literally, if I was walking into that dressing room today as a manager, right? You, and you, go find new clubs. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And I literally will tell you the 6 players I would have on that chopping block. It would literally be, thank you, Sonny. You've been a fantastic servant to this club for 10 years. Please go out on top. You have our graces as a club. And as a manager, I feel it's time for you to go and earn a bigger paycheck somewhere. You know, Sonny, you have our blessing, please. I mean, be an ambassador to our club. We'll give you a coaching thing and all that. When you decide to retire, please come back because we'll want you. I would get rid of Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr. I would get rid of Odebear. The fact that we signed Tell was desperation, but that was already pre-arranged before Frank coming, so it's not a Frank signing. I would get rid of Rich. I would get rid of Richie. Then I'd look at the back. I mean, Kuti was flirting with other teams for ages. Now all of a sudden he wants to stay. What? Because no one wants to buy you, mate. All right. Kuti, Toodle Pit, mate. We've got, you know, young Lucas coming in. Give him a chance to play next to Van der Ven. There you go.
Do you know, though? Do you know what I'd love to see? And I know it's not a popular opinion, but with Mickey van der Ven, right, in his Dutch national side, he plays at left back.
Yeah.
Right? Now, why can't we have Van der Ven as a left back, put Vuskovic in the centre that can actually head a fucking ball,
Mm.
Playing next door to Romero with Porro or
Mm.
Spence out on the right-hand side. And you know
But then,
what?
this
That
is
defence
my
looks
big
a lot
experiment.
stronger.
My big experiment would be Romero, Vuskovic in the middle, Spence out left, Porro right. I would put Van der Ven as my CDM because of his pace and him being naturally be able to track back and tackle. He's got a decent pass, but like in an
Yeah,
old-fashioned centre defensive midfielder, I want my centre defensive midfielder to one have pace, two be able to break up play, and three be able to tackle. If he could pass it, he could pass it, but then that's when you have like the likes of the old school, so like Paul Scholes, Scholesy,
Yeah.
massively underrated player. Still to my day, I still say Paul Scholes is better than Steven fucking Gerrard and Frank Lampard. Because if you go back to
well, they were all box to box, weren't they?
but if you go back to an interview that Zidane said, "Who's one of the best players you've ever played against?" He pointed at Paul Scholes. Go and ask him. He knows what he's doing. You're getting that kind of endorsement from a serial winner and World Cup winner in Zidane. I mean, come on. So the guy was so massively underrated, but like I would have my old-fashioned sort of like Scholesy with Van der Ven sort of like doing the not running past the halfway line, tracking back and holding into that space just below the center circle, like the half circle, and
Possibly, but I think we tried
behind him, and then that way you can turn that back two into a back three and have your wing backs going up with your wingers, like the old-fashioned way would do it, So I'd have that.
But haven't we tried that before?
What, with Van der Ven in midfield?
No, with Davis. I mean, with other players in the past. Haven't we tried to repurpose players?
Yeah,
and
but
Davis
is like the jack of all trades, master of none, so he could never do it. The only other option we'd have is putting Cuti Romero as the CDM. Because again, Cuti Romero has that vision of pass, but as a defender can be a bit hot-headed at times.
He is, but he's also calmed down a hell of a lot. Compared to what he used to be like. And and I think that's him maturing as a player. And for me, might be unpopular, but I wouldn't mind the likes of Romero being club captain because he might want to go in a season or two. But for me, he's the sort of player you need as a captain. He's a serial winner.
He's got that bit of grit.
He's got a bit of grit about him. And you know what? You give him that responsibility. I think that's why he's staying. I think he's been told when Sonny goes, you're club captain.
Yeah. And then
I think that's the only reason he's staying.
I'd have him as captain, have Porro as I'd have Porro as my vice captain then. Or Vicario.
No, I don't want to keep her as a vice captain or captain. Don't like keepers as captains. Never have. I never liked it when we had Lloris as captain.
Look,
they can't see what's going on.
Everything. The keeper sees everything.
Yeah, but they can't. Yeah, but when stuff's going on at the top of the pitch in attack, they can't see it. They're too far away. And it just, I just don't think keepers work as captains.
He's going to be only playing a bit part season. I don't want Romero here, man.
Yeah, but at the minute, Ryan, we've got no. As much as he says he only plays 50% of the games. Those 50% of the games he plays, I'd say a good 90% of them, he's on point and he does play. In that Europa League final, if he hadn't have been in that team, we would not have won it. I can tell you that now.
Truth.
What? So
right.
So you'd rather have right, a bit part player that only turns up when he wants to turn up, not when everybody else wants him to turn up.
But is that because? Yeah, but Ryan, is that because he's being ignored? Obviously he's come to a club. He's come to a club where we had Harry Kane as captain for years. Then Sonny's taken over, two long-standing members of the club. Whereas last couple of seasons, he's matured a lot. He was put in the leadership group, and to be fair to him, he did make mistakes coming back from, when we've he'd just come back from international, wasn't he? And against Leicester, he had that bit of a fucking mare and stuff,
Well,
but he didn't get a break.
Vardy. He switched off against Vardy, didn't he, at the back post? No, near post.
Yeah. So
No,
you know,
I'm sorry.
but for me,
No, I'm sorry. I
if he
can't
can
believe-
stay fit, which I think he will, because of the fact of
We're
you
not
know
gonna be
it is a World Cup year, you know, and he'll want to play for Argentina. So
take away the
you know,
whole. It's a World Cup year, Paul. We've got a manager that knows how to coach players and
Play
not have them looking like they're on the hospital
Kamikaze.
bed on the pitch. You know, we're not going to be playing this high line, everyone bomb forward bullshit. We're going to be more solid at the back, we hope, especially with good coaches and a good manager coming in with Frank. For the midfield, I seriously still think Basuma and Bentancur need to go. We need 2 new solid midfielders.
No.
Either that, or go and get me 2 solid midfielders. That Bentancur and Basuma as the cover. There you go.
Yep.
Have them 2 as the
To be
cover.
honest, that's what I want to see. I don't
Get
want
rid
to
of
see them
Smart.
go right now. What I want to see happen is 1 or 2 come in above them, so then they have to play to get into the team. That's what I want to see, right? And to be honest, if I see 3 more new signings this summer, I want to see a winger, I want to see a CDM, and another creative player.
I want a box-to-box or a box-to-box creative player. There aren't that many out there in world football, but I want, like I said, I want an old-fashioned Paul Scholes. Give me a Paul Scholes.
Do you know, as much as everybody hates him, Bruno Fernandes is one of them. You know, Fernandes for Man U does the same job.
Let's get off the Fernandes thing. We said we wanted a Fernandes, and our manager, our glorious leader, got the wrong Fernandes.
Yeah.
All right, I need Bruno Fernandes. All right, so you want Fernandes? All right, yeah, okay, cool. Guys, that gets the fucking shit Fernandes. It's like Ndombele. Sorry, Ndombele was signed off the back of a video. Shitter.
Look, the problem is, we are going to get other signings in, but they're going to be fucking young. They're going to be piss poor. They're going to want to. I'm not buying any of this anymore. Levy.
I've got an idea. McAtee, get me Elliot, get me Polina. That should all cost under about 100 million for 3 new players. Those 3 alone.
Yeah.
Then you go and you get rid of Sonny for about 20, so that brings it down to 70 million spent net.
No.
Then you find other players to get rid of, like loan fees. Obviously, there's got to be a loan fee involved for
Mikey
Moore. So the money from the loan fee will bring that down. You get rid of Richie. It's going to be a tough ask getting rid of fucking Richie, isn't it? I mean, the guy's had
as well, apparently.
Yeah, no, he's had 1 good season, and how many years as a pro? Like Dominic Solanke, 13 goals in 1 good season. Que sera, isn't it?
I can't be buying this anymore. I went into this window after we got in Kudos. I was like, yeah, okay, but no. I am not buying this bull crap anymore.
Parting, you've got this. What do you mean, bro? Joe, what do you mean by that?
What parting has he got?
What, for me and Paul schooling him again?
No, I'm being serious. Right? At the end of the day, I would love to see these players come in, but we all know that Daniel Levy's not gonna do it. He's only going. I know. Look, first of all, I know I've got one hell of a party in there, mate. You don't need to keep telling me I've got one hell of a party, and I know that one myself. But no, right? Look,
the boldness.
I want someone like I want people like Harvey Elliott, but we all know that ain't gonna happen.
Tell him what the parting is. Are we going to go biblical here, like the Red Sea?
That's what Spurs need to do in a transfer window. Push everybody out of the way and just go, we want you.
No, it's a go. Whatever's left in the middle after the sea's fucked off. That fish should do.
What, the scraps?
In the basket. Apart from Kudos, everything's like, that'll do.
You're 20-year-olds, you're 18-year-olds, and you're 15-year-olds. Oh, yeah. That's kindergarten Jimmy Savile shit, mate. No.
Right, and you need to stop mentioning that sort of thing, please, mate.
Yeah.
You can't keep mentioning those sort of names, mate. It will just bring up all sorts of problems.
Might as well call ourselves Tottenham Crash Spurs, where if you're kicking your mum in the womb, we might sign you.
No,
That'll be a new one, mate. Honestly.
Waiting there at the
Don't,
scan.
no.
Right, he's kicked her 5 times in 30 seconds. Right,
Hang
give
on.
him a contract.
Hang on. Do you reckon, right? Heung-min Son's actual son. Do you reckon they've got him signed on a contract yet? Ready
Well,
to come in?
seeing as his father's turned around and
No.
said to him, "Don't be in a relationship till you retire. Don't have children till you retire." I mean,
That's what I mean.
but then that hook
Signing them from the bloody womb. Do you reckon it'll be a sell-on clause in his son's contract? We've got first option on your son when you have one.
Hang on, we got first option
Oh,
on your semen, mate. What you're
God.
talking about? Forget about the child coming out. That's hard.
No, can we not? No, I don't. I can't be dealing with any more kids coming in. No, no.
At least
no,
it
no,
won't
no,
grow.
no, I don't.
Not if he fucks off to America.
Oh no,
I
he'll
can't-
come back as an ambassador for Spurs. He'll be back in England. You know, if his missus gets
Oh.
pregnant, we drag him back to England. Like, get back here and have him here.
No,
Need to
can
give him
we
that
not?
crappy English passport.
Yeah.
No, I want men in now. I'm sick and tired of having.
Yeah, right. Ryan, we are kidding when we're talking about Heung-min Son's kids.
No, but the problem is you might be
That
kidding,
child
but
just
it could
headed the womb
actually
5
happen, though. That's
times.
the only
Give him a
problem.
contract.
No, but the
He
problem
said,
is,
"Fuck
yeah,
you"
right,
to the
you're
referee in
kidding,
the
but
womb.
don't
Give him a
be
contract.
out for
Next
instance,
Joey
'cause it could
Barton.
happen. No,
Oh,
But
like,
I'm done.
look,
anyway, on that note,
seriously, you're talking about young kids, but Harvey Elliott is 22. McAtee is 21. English.
Yeah.
Polina, get me him. Then find me a
Yeah.
left winger. There you go.
Yeah, look,
3 centre midfielders. Cha-ching. Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Get me scout in the Premier League and everywhere else. I could do a better job than half
No,
these
'cause-
frigging idiots and the amount of football I
look,
watch.
the difference is, yeah, right, with Harvey Elliott, he's got experience in the Premier League. That's if we're gonna bring in anyone like a kid now, give me Harvey Elliott. I will bring.
Yeah,
I
but
will-
Harvey
I will-
Elliott's
He's not a
kid,
kid, he's 22. So this whole is he a kid thing is until they hit
He's not a
21.
kid.
When they hit 21 and past in any league, they're not cast as a child anymore. Apparently so in the rules.
Yeah,
But
they're not.
from where I was always sitting, once you hit 20, you're classed as a young adult male.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry if
don't-
I offend anybody out there on the internet.
But on that note, we'll take it to: is the match against Arsenal a friendly, or is there no such thing as a friendly when Spurs play them down the road?
No such thing as a friendly. It's fucking Arsenal.
All
I want to see
say-
Saliba's legs broken by Solanke in the first 5 minutes of the game. All that is it. I'm done with Dom.
Nah, do you know what? Right, I'm just gonna look at it like this, right? I don't care what happens until the season starts. So whatever happens, happens. Once the season starts, then yeah, it's a whole different ball game at that point.
Yeah, but it's- I get what you mean with the season starting, but obviously this is the first time we've ever played Arsenal in a so-called friendly,
Outside of
we've had this
England.
discussion already, mate.
and it's outside of
on.
England. You know, so is this going to be? Is it going to
And
be
not
like a massive rivalry? Are we going to see 2 full-strength teams?
Not just that, we're also going to see it in South Korea where Saudi's playing, where he's got the whole nation behind him.
Yeah. Even the ones that are wearing red.
Ugh.
Nah, Paul, me and you have had this discussion, mate. Right? I you know what I think about it, right? At the end
Yeah,
of the day,
I
I'm
get
not-
what you mean with pre-season, Ryan. I get the games that don't mean anything, but this game obviously holds a bit more weight than
A bit more gravitas.
To me, it doesn't.
It is.
You know.
To me, it
Arsenal.
doesn't.
It doesn't matter. It could be the fucking last game of the season. If we're playing Arsenal, mate, it's Arsenal. It's like
Yeah.
that with Brighton and Palace. If Brighton and Palace have a friendly, you can guarantee that every Brightonian wants to go up there and smash a Palace prick in the face. I'm a Brightonian, and we're born out the womb hating Palace, and I'm a Yid. I hate Palace more than I hate Arsenal, but I still hate Arsenal because of fucking history and what their dirty bastards tried to do over 100 years ago with the whole politicians and oh no, let's not go
but
down
for
the
me,
history of Tottenham.
For me though, right, the main rivalry comes from now. I grew up in London, right. They are known as Woolwich Arsenal, which is in South London.
Yeah.
Right. So how the hell can they class themselves as a North London team? They can't.
Well, they couldn't.
Huh?
They
can't.
because we're
But
from
what
North
I'm
London.
saying is,
Oh, they always call themselves the pride of North London, but they're not. They're South London because they come from Woolwich Arsenal, which was South London.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't care if it's a friendly or not. I just want to see us go out there and, because this will have an effect in the season as well. It's kind of, it's going to be one of them games. I can't see it being a clean game either.
No,
players will be taking each other
Romero
out.
Romero is getting sent off. Romero's getting sent off tomorrow.
Yeah, but if you noticed in the friendlies recently, the cards aren't coming out as often, are they? They're only coming out if they're really bad. I think I saw one the other day that should have been a red. If that was in competitive league, he would have gone straight off. But because it was a friendly, he got a yellow card. Like, what?
Friendly challenge. Friendly.
Yeah. Well, those challenges used to be every week.
Oh, let's go back to the early years of football where there was no such thing as cards. Unless you're fucking dead on the floor, the ball continued on. The game carried on going. You think back to like Bobby Charlton and players like that back in that era, like Pele.
That's when footballers were made.
The main thing for anyone to play against Pele was kick the shit out of him. Back at 60s, 70s, and 80s football was just a fucking bloodbath. I think I still remember, was it Piercy in an England match? He got all bandanaed up and come back on, blood pissing all over his bandages and everything. Yeah. That's a fucking player. Even though he played for the filth, that's a player. That is a man. He got fucking battered, got bandaged up, and got back on that pitch. Yeah. Imagine players like from now going back playing football 25, 30 years ago getting kicked off the pitch. They wouldn't be able to hack it.
No, they wouldn't. And that's the thing. I think football's become so soft, and it got brought up, actually. I can't remember who brought it up, but the women's game, have you seen it? Right. Some of them tackles that were flying in, right? No word of a lie. Like, how the hell are they getting away with that? And it's like, it brought me back to like the 80s and 90s of men's football, where they went into a tackle and all they did was just shook it off and got up and got on with it. It was good to see in that sense. You know what I mean? They weren't rolling around on the floor like freaking, oh, I've really hurt myself. They've rolled 50 times down the freaking pitch. And in 2 minutes later, they're getting up going 50 yards down the wing.
Did a name down to the fucking the changing tunnels.
That's a miracle. That's a miracle physio. He's come out, freaking massaged your ankle for 30 seconds. You get back up and you're flying down the wing at 50 miles an hour.
It used to be the old man spray back in the 90s, isn't it? It was just deep heat. Just spray that on there, be all right in a minute.
Yeah.
Unless your bone's sticking out your skin, mate. You saw these blokes get back up off the floor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They weren't none of this rolling about.
Soft weight players. I mean, even if we go back 15 years when like the likes of John Terry and Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, three very fucking solid defenders. Can you imagine any of the strikers now getting past those three? They fucking
wouldn't.
Decked. And Rio would be like, oh, he ran into me.
Do you remember when Klinsmann signed for Spurs?
Oh yeah.
And do you remember and then I think a day or two later after he signed, I think that was a big thing in I think it was the Sun. Like Klinsmann signs up for a diving school apparently because he was seen outside a swimming pool.
Yeah,
it was just hilarious. That guy could die for fun, couldn't he? It was just
Oh, if you're going to get a penalty out of it, why not?
yeah. But he
I'll
never
make it
did in the
look
Premier League, though, did he? He kept diving, and then the refs cottoned on to what he was doing, and then when he did get clattered and he deserved a penalty, he didn't get them because they were like, no, he's just dived again.
Fucking it off the floor, you ponce.
But they were the good old days, though. But yeah, that's how
Men. And there was 4-4-2.
Yeah, it was always 4-4-2, wasn't it? It was never anything different.
Deviate away from 4-4-2, you lost.
Or you might have got the odd 4-3-3.
That would be like the Newcastle when a certain bloke said, "I love it if we beat these." Played 4-3-3 a lot. How to throw away a league, written by Newcastle. So that's it. Read by Alex Ferguson. Oh, I love it if we beat these. These deep Scottish accent.
Yeah. But any final thoughts then before we call it a night?
Leave you out.
Leave you out.
As always, leave you out. Mun out. Oh wait, Mun's gone.
Yeah, Mun's gone. Lange out.
Oh wait, Ange gone. Oh, I can't say
No, Lange, the other Ange. We want the Lange out now.
Yeah, the misspelt Ange. Lange.
Yeah.
Lange. Like you just sit there, you got like, how the fuck have some of these people kept their jobs for so long at this club?
Yeah, exactly.
You go into any normal walk of life, like a manager doing poorly at his job would get sacked, not hold on and see if he improves. Sacked on the spot. You wouldn't see me working in Poundland like I used to do, stacking shells, and then someone could do it slightly quicker. I'd be chucked on the tills. There you go.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's, and a lot of people couldn't work out why he lasted as long as he did, considering Levy has always been ruthless.
He must have had some like dodgy pictures of like Levy's wife or something like on a flash drive.
Levy has always been ruthless.
That's what I don't get. Every other manager, like Jose, sacked a week before a cup final, and that season we'd already beat Man City twice.
Yeah.
Conte walked before he got sacked. I'd say he walked because he had already given up 6 months previous.
Yeah.
We were on the back of a certain manager now, that Forest's thing after the first 5-6 games. He got sacked. That's what brought
To be fair, I never wanted Nuno anyway.
I didn't want Nuno. But it's like the whole, we go back to before we signed Andrew, we were talking to Julian Nagelsmann and we wouldn't bring his coaching staff over. 2 years down the line, we sack possibly the worst fucking Spurs manager I've seen. And I mean, I've seen my fair share of donkeys at the club, but he won us a cup, so he's going to be called a legend. So does that mean a certain bloke in 2008 won us the League Cup's a legend because he won us a cup? I mean, is he a legend? No, because he played fucking shocking.
To be fair, I think on that point, most people are calling him that, well, because it was a European trophy. And the last time he won that trophy was in 1984. So, and all these managers had their stab at that competition or the Conference League and they couldn't get it over the fucking line. So, that's why people...
Go back to the Conference League when we was in it, when it was first brought out. That was COVID year.
Yeah.
And we had players that had COVID, and then the UEFA and everything went like, oh, unless you can do it, we're going to chuck you out of it. So that's the reason why we didn't progress in that tournament, because we got fucked up because our players are real.
But we shouldn't have needed the last game to qualify anyway.
Especially against a French team. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. Regardless of whether we missed that game or not, we shouldn't have been in a position where by losing that game we were out, which is exactly what happened. Because we were losing, and Spurs have always done this. I've said they've always done it. When we play lower league opposition, we don't tend to turn up. We underestimate them. We see it as like, oh, it's just a kick around the fucking park. Well, that was my biggest worry when we went to Bodo Glimt. It was like, we should be smashing these, but what we're going to do? We're going to turn up and not play them. We got a scare against carrier bag in the group stages. You know,
Well,
and then Rangers beat us in the group stage. Galatasaray beat us in the group stages. It's like, you
we
know,
struggled to beat a Roma team that was on their third manager by that point.
yeah,
That's how piss poor we was. And then we'll go back to the FA Cup match where it took us into extra time to be a team that's in what, the sixth tier of football, where
yeah,
most of them are fucking working at Xavi and our plumbers. No offense to people that do a normal job, but you should be getting beaten by Tottenham in the first half about 15-0.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but then, you know, but that was my argument, and that was my argument with the players that were playing in that game. Ryan, just so you know, Mikey Moore did start that game, and then
so did Madison.
we didn't do anything with it. But we didn't do anything with it, and then we had to bring on the big guns to get it across the fucking line in extra time. Like, what the flying fuck?
You know, if we'd
You know
lost
what I
that
mean?
match
It was
because
just
of the penalties, mate, I would have fucking pissed myself laughing.
Well,
I was
I
just
would
you know,
digging
if we'd gone out, you know, if we had gone out in the FA Cup to Tamworth, right? I could guarantee the next morning Ange would have been sacked.
Oh yeah, guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
Do you know
The only
what?
reason why he's kept around is because of the cup runs that we
Europa
went on.
League.
Obviously,
Yeah.
not just Europa, but we were doing well in the League Cup until we went off and got spanked at Anfield. But like, you've just won 1-0 at home against the league's best team. Why aren't you trying to shut up shop and try and nick a goal at Anfield to try and get into that final?
Yeah,
No, play the same
exactly.
tactics again. And what happened? We got absolutely fucking mashed up. And then obviously League Cup, we got absolutely smashed up again. So it's like, I was saying it all season for 2 seasons. This manager shouldn't be here. The amount of abuse I've received online, told that I am brain dead by people because of having a different view, because I don't worship the shit off of the fucking most basic of managers that doesn't understand tactics and coaching. I've been called some fucking names in the last few months. Let's put it that way. I've even received death threats for my opinion. Someone said something about my fucking little boy. So if I ever see that person, I know they're never going to have the balls to say it in my face because I don't even think they live in this country, but I would mash that person into the floor. And I'm not a violent person. You can say anything about me you want, but you bring my kid into it, mate, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Oh yeah, it's same as that. You know, it's just bonkers, mate. The internet.
For a football opinion,
to be honest,
and you get a death threat, you're like, it's an opinion. It's
Yeah.
not fucking gospel. It's not fact, is it? My
Yeah.
opinion on Ange was he's only done it in Tin Pot leagues. Boasts that he wins everywhere he goes because he plays in said Tin Pot leagues. Did nothing for the first season at Tottenham apart from finish 5th. And then all everybody can bring up for an argument is those first 10 games. Yeah, those first 10 games where we got lucky to get a result versus Sheffield United, and that season got relegated, and the season
but do you know
after that
what
got
I think?
relegated again.
and Liverpool. Liverpool should have beaten us that day.
Yep, and Liverpool. Let's not forget those 10 games where apparently it's all hunky-dory and everyone's like, I mean, I could call out so much shit in those first 10 games that I got told to shut up in group chats. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Don't forget the third season's better than the second, apparently.
Yeah, your P45's on the desk. Ding. Thank you for paying your thank you for paying your taxes. Please leave the country. Please leave the country. Please leave the country.
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone was saying right now, this is where I also get a bit suspicious with, obviously, with Ange and stuff like that. Every other manager we've had has automatically got hired by another club. Whether that Conte
says a lot about Ange, doesn't it?
Thing, but Ange hasn't. He's not even been approached.
Because everyone saw the style of football we played and went, nah, we don't want none of that. Not even Celtic were like, that's all right, mate. You can stay unemployed. I mean, there were links to him going to Saudi, weren't there? I mean, that would have been.
Yeah.
I would have felt sorry for any Saudi club picking that prick up. It's like,
well,
he's sacked after a week.
I'd be saying it's the best thing that could have ever happened, but still, anyway, fuck it.
But anyway, on that note, we shall leave it. And we'll call it a night.
Before we go, everyone hit smash the likes if you're watching on replay, or if you haven't smashed the like and people are still in here, please smash the likes. It helps us out in the algorithm. Even though I thought we was going to get a Sav raid, we quite clearly didn't. Thanks, Sav.
But, you know, for me, if you do like the content, please like and subscribe. We will get more and more things coming out to you. Just obviously real life gets in the way. Thanks for Corey for joining us. Much appreciated, mate. What's your channel?
I haven't got one, but I'm working
You haven't got
on
one.
background with 2 of my other friends on a geeky, nerdy kind of channel away from football, blockbuster movies, games, and television.
All right, cool.
And next week, I've got a passion of mine talking about the Turtles, and I'm talking about with someone I am very close to in the Tottenham community that has a channel. So hopefully we see him on next week to talk Turtles and see who really is the biggest shellhead.
Who's your favourite?
Raph.
Raphael. Oh, see, I'd argue straight
Best
away. 'Cause mine
weapon.
was mine.
Best weapon. Hands down,
Mine
the
was
size of the best
Michelangelo.
weapon. Worst weapon.
Yeah, I know it's the worst weapon, but you know, still, he was
Everyone's
still
got
my
their
favourite.
Raph was still the best. Sorry, we'll have this argument all night now.
Cool. All right, guys, we're going to end it off there before we go on for another 5 hours. Until the next one, keep it Spurs, keep it clean, and we'll catch you guys up in the next one. Peace.
Come on, you Spurs.